Hey, Benjamin, good to see you again. My God, we've been talking to each other for almost once a week for the last, what, year?
It's been awesome.
It's been fantastic to collaborate with you and your colleagues on the energy chapter. It was the longest chapter in the book. The editors kind of trimmed it back to make it more fair to the others, but clearly it's a testimony to how dynamic the sector is.
I'm glad you used the word dynamic because it really shows and elaborates on what's really been going on. I know when I was in the utility industry, I thought how dynamic of an industry this is. It must be the most dynamic industry out there because of all the changes that were going on with it during the energy transition. And we hear a lot about that from Daniela Sullivan from SAP, my peer on the utility side. But if you think about what's going on the oil, gas, and energy side, I think it's a whole nother level. I think a lot about, is the industry going to be a Kodak, or is it going to be like an Amazon who are completely reinventing themselves continuously? And I think we are going to be, as an industry, more like an Amazon. We're reinventing ourselves. And we're hearing that from our customers like Galp and Shell and their stories, and our strategic partner, Accenture, and then other industry advisors like DNV. And what's really interesting to hear is this in detail where that's coming from. You hear from Peter Koop, who talks about hydrogen and renewables and how the oil, gas, and energy industry is moving into those spaces more and more every day and expanding their business into new revenue streams.
Benjamin, the title of the megatrend is sustainable energy. What is your definition of sustainable, and how are you leading your customers into this sustainable world?
So the way we look at sustainable energy transition is it has to be secure, affordable, and sustainable. And we believe that this requires a platform for companies to embrace that has market standards and is based on the cloud that allows them to innovate and differentiate themselves. And we heard in the World Economic Forum paper that Accenture helped draft that basically says digital can be a powerful lever to accelerate climate action by 2030. So we've taken the content that we've received, from all these analysts, from our customers, and we've helped really kind of drive that down into 10 core topics that we're focused on at SAP from an energy transition perspective. And the first is sustainable operations and sustainable procurement, how natural gas and LNG can be leveraged to provide energy security, how hydrogen can help replace those fossil fuels that'll run and it runs cleaner. And then we also see, a lot of companies looking at alternative fuels and circular economy to help drive, cleaner fuels like safe aviation fuels. We see businesses moving into digital service stations. We are talking to our customers about energy management and how they can manage their energy usage as part of their scope 1 and 2. Renewable energy production, and of course, methane. Methane's a large contributor to CO2 emissions, and how our technologies, our asset management and other technologies can help them with their methane leakage detection and repair. And then as a large area of this is around how we can help customers as they're moving into these new business areas like carbon capture and storage and trading and those types of areas. And for each one of these, we've sat down and said, what are the pain points and opportunities, say like for energy management? And then what's the business value of solving these? Because there has to be value to not only reducing your CO2, but to your company as a whole and your shareholders. And then we've listed out, here are the SAP's relevant solutions that can help your company achieve your goals, depending on which one of these topics you're focused on as part of your overall strategy. And we're seeing a lot of companies, looking at where can they best drive and use and leverage their expertise. And so a lot of them are trying many of these different topic areas and approaches, but then they're going to have to narrow it down to where can they really be successful. So you see companies like Oxy who are very, very focused on carbon capture and storage, because that's where they feel they have a great strength in and a great opportunity. So we do see a lot of companies and work with a lot of companies to help them have the foundational platform for them to make their transition into these new business areas and deliver on their energy sustainability objectives. In addition to that, we're collaborating with the industry. One of the key areas is our CO Alliance for Europe's Recovery, Reform, and Resilience, where we're part of the hydrogen value chain. And how do we drive the use of hydrogen and ensure that the production of green hydrogen and where that hydrogen is needed for production of, say, steel, right? How do we make sure that supply chain gets connected up and we're optimizing that? So, SAP is really focused on engaging with our customers, engaging with partners in the ecosystem, and then working to then make sure that we have the products that we see that our customers need to be successful.
Let's talk about the advanced side for a minute. Energy transition is a hot term, but what are you seeing? What differences are you seeing from different industries?
Yeah, I think if we look at industries like the steel industry, they're looking at greener energy products like hydrogen to help them meet their energy needs and reduce their CO2 footprint as part of their overall strategy. If you look at companies like airlines, they're looking for sustainable aviation fuels to drive and their goals to meet their sustainability goals around scope 1 and scope 2. And then chemical companies, they're not only looking at more sustainable energy to drive their energy production as they're producing their products, but they're also looking at different feedstock to help drive that through circular economy. How can they reuse other products to drive their products instead of having to go straight back to the hydrocarbons?
Benjamin, this year has opened our eyes to how, we just can't afford to be picky about what fuel source we get our energy from, right? So what are energy companies doing, to meet the emission goals, the green goals, and yet make the transition smooth? We just cannot have hiccups like we've had.
So I think what we're seeing is several different strategies that oil, gas, and energy companies are following. One is doubling down, right? We're going to be the best at what we are. We're going to take advantage of the market as other companies are pulling out of production. We're going to fill that gap. We have some companies that are focused on decarbonizing, where they're just reducing their operational emissions and trying to be as cost effective and as low emissions as possible. You have other companies that are diversifying, where they're moving into new business operations. And then you have other companies that are literally divesting whole elements of their business, like production. And then finally, you have new businesses like carbon as a service, and looking at how do they then provide these new services, not only to their industry to help them reduce their emissions, but also then help like airlines and other industries reduce their emissions. And so I think we're seeing a lot of companies really falling into one of these 5 categories, and that's where they're at today.
Benjamin, it's a fascinating megatrend. Thank you so much for guiding us through the whole dynamic sector. Thank you.
Thank you, and I really enjoyed working with you, and I hope everyone enjoys the book.
Thank you.